there are some very basic foundational ideas about how to memorize anything. And once you understand those, then you can get into, okay, well, how do I apply that for a language? How do I apply that for numbers? And the process is the same. There's just different kind of tweaks and strategies that go into that. Like, okay, we don't remember everything. That would be bad. But there's still kind of a wavelength of things that we memorize or remember better than others, right? I don't remember all the times I went to the bathroom because it's not that interesting and they're all the same pretty much, right? But I will remember that time that I had my first kiss, or that time that I slam dunked in my high school basketball game for the first time, right? Actually the only time. I'm really tall, but I can't jump very high. But I did that game. It was good enough. So why do certain things come to the forefront of our memory and some are just dropped, right? And the idea is we are very emotional as a species, right? Things, and that's kind of what makes us unique. We can laugh, we can cry, we can find something disgusting, we can be offended, we can love something. And so our memories stick a lot when it comes to those kinds of things, both good and bad. So I think the first step to memorizing anything is to play into that, to kind of tap into that emotionally tagged situation. So every time I'm trying to memorize something, I'm always trying to visualize the information as something that can evoke that same feeling of sadness or anger or laughter or interesting, something to make it out of the norm, right? So that it's not this everyday, very simple thing that won't stand out against the grain, and then something that is emotionally charged. So that's the first step. I always tell people that. How do you convert what you're memorizing into a emotionally charged picture in your mind?
Yeah, and so how would you do that with something abstract, like you're trying to remember a word, for a language, or card in a deck of cards. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's a varying range of types of information, right? And if you think about how we process information, you and I, we both speak English. So if I'm presented with an English word like elephant, right? To picture that and to come up with images that are emotional, it's pretty easy because just inherently us speaking the language, when we see that word that we understand perfectly, that's what it means to understand it perfectly, is there's already associations involved. You know what it means. You think of this big gray animal with tusks, and who knows, maybe for you, you've been on safari, so it reminds you of this trip you took to Botswana one year, I don't know, with your girlfriend, or, like all these things can come into play. Or, maybe you draw a lot and one of your best sketches or paintings is an elephant, so there's all these different things that can come from that one word. But then, right, things get more difficult. So what if you have a foreign word? So a bunch of letters together, but that don't really evoke anything because you've never learned it as part of your vocabulary in your language. Or even more complex, a number or a deck of playing cards, right? Those are literally, you're getting to a point where they're just symbols, right? I mean, numbers at least can maybe have some meaning to you because maybe it reminds you of your favorite number or your favorite soccer player's jersey number, right? Or a good marathon time or something like that. So numbers do play a part. They're not easy, but there could be some images there. And then decks of cards, I mean, what does this mean to you? Yeah, it's a 5 and a funny little symbol, but together that even makes it more complex. So if you have a whole deck of 52 cards with all those combos of images, that's super abstract, right? Or even formulas and so on. You get the idea. So the idea is to try to come up with a picture. Sometimes it's obvious with an English word, but when it's not obvious, you have to develop a strategy. And usually it's some form of taking that information and encoding it into some version of an English word that you know, because that's what we can process as an image, right? So when I look at a deck of cards and I see a card, I've translated them all in my mind, but I've done this beforehand, to words, essentially, or things that I can picture. And so Ace of Hearts is actually the guy, what's the kid's name? I don't know his name. From Home Alone, whatever the main characters did. Kevin McAllister.
Kevin?
There you go.
Right.
Yeah, Kevin. Yeah. But I picture him, right? So this complicated, I mean, one card isn't that complicated, but the A and the heart together, picture that, it's Kevin McAllister, you know? And then if you think of like a foreign language, it's a bit easier because it does have the resemblance of a word. It's just a bunch of letters in an order that you've never processed before, I guess. Or at least at the beginning, it's new. So the idea would be to maybe try to think of something that is related to what you think of when you see it or hear it in your native language. You know, I use this example a lot in French. I speak French, but if somebody wasn't and they were learning the word for dog, you know, it's chien, which if you look at how it's spelled, it kind of looks like chain. It's not pronounced like that at all, but if you're going based on what it looks like, you could say, okay, well, I can think of a chain, right? And maybe relate the image of a chain to a dog, right? So I can kind of pair those images to kind of get eventually to where I need to go. Yeah, so you would see this word chien, which is C-H-I-E-N. It's a masculine dog. And then, you know, that would make you think of the chain attached to some like rabid dog, right? Trying to break free of his chained up, whatever, I guess, a tree. You know, and so then whenever you see that word, you think of the dog. And then if you're trying to think of the word in French for dog, you would picture a dog attached to that chain, and that would lead you in the other direction to the words you want to say. That's it in a nutshell, yeah.